All right. It looks like we have a quorum. Michael, our trusted moderator, do you want to kind of kick us off and tell us hi, David, how this whole thing works?
Hi, Patty.
Sure, sure. Thanks, Marty. Hey, sellers. Thanks for joining us today on our seller check-in webinar. So this is a Zoom webinar that we're on today, which means you are joining us and you can hear and see all of our presenters, but we cannot see or hear you. We can see a list of all your names. To interact with us, I can see some of you are already in there. In the Q&A, you can submit your questions there, and it looks like there's an ask. Yeah, so it looks like you're already in there. So folks, go ahead and use that Q&A, and I'm going to hand it back over to Marnie to get us started.
All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome. This is our first seller check-in, live seller check-in, I should say. Welcome. So thank you for joining us. I know there's tons of friends out there, friendly faces. I can't see you, but you can see me. So I'm sending big hugs out there to everybody. Let's see, where do I start? My goodness. I've been calling this our friends and family round, quite frankly, because we wanted to invite you guys first, but we do want to share all this information and we want to talk to the broader community at large. But we thought we'd start with what we call our safe, our safe group, our friends and family for this round. So thank you for joining. Welcome. As you can see on this slide, we're in this together. Gosh, it's been a bit nutty out there, hasn't it? I hope you're all safe and healthy and well. But we wanted to kind of get together today with you and one, kind of just update you on some of the programs and promotions that we've put in place. Most of you know about those, but wanted to kind of share them holistically with you. Also, obviously, Harry wants to kind of check in and see how you're doing and share some updates on his end. Stuart is joining us, of course, to talk about shipping, which there are a lot of questions out there about shipping, what's going on, not only domestically, but globally. So he's here to kind of give you some updates. And then, of course, Jordan will round it out and bring us all home, and we'll start answering questions. So I'm going to ask my colleagues to keep it brief because I want to get to your questions. I see I'm looking at the number. It's going up 11, 12 questions already. So, I really want to keep us brief and really get to your questions because this is what it's all about. So, we've been trying to stay connected. I know I've done a lot of Facebook Lives. Harry, Jordan, we've all been out there. Jordan's answering a lot of folks in the Facebook group. So we will continue to do that. But just to kind of fill you in on the things that we have done to date, as you know, we've enacted the seller protections for at least 90 days, holding the status where you are at. And of course, you can go up in status to TRP, but we will not have people going below standards at this time because we want you to have kind of the flexibility to be able to manage your business without worrying. We launched our flexibility with payments. So we launched our deferred billing program where sellers can request access to that program. And we're seeing a lot of great, results there. Sellers who really need it are benefiting. We are seeing an influx of sellers who are asking for it and are appreciative of that. So we were happy to do that. We're always looking for ways to support you guys. Let's see, we're trying to keep you well informed, right? We have a bunch of promos running. We do have the 100,000 free listings promotion running for our store subscribers. And then we have 2 promotions running for our C2C sellers, as well as our non-store subscriber B2C sellers. So we're really trying to, hit all of our seller cohorts and support you all in the ways that you feel are most needed for your size and scale of business. So we're trying to leave no seller behind for sure. And then just today, many of you may have seen already, but we've just launched our up and running program. So our first priority was to support you, our existing sellers and the sellers who've been with us for 25 years, and then really look to our communities and say, how can we help those who are struggling? Those other, kind of entrepreneurs out there who own brick and mortar stores, who run stores on Main Street. And we launched our program today called Up and Running, which is really about getting those sellers up and running online. So we're offering them basic stores, we're offering them final value fee reprievals, and so we're really trying to help our communities at large. So like I said, started with our existing seller base, our loyal and true customers and fans, and then expanding it to our community. So we're proud to announce that today. Let's see, other things to note. I think you've heard us talk about that, traffic is out there, right? Other marketplaces are struggling in some areas. We are seeing buyers come to the site. We are seeing sales in categories that we don't normally see at eBay, right? So we're selling food and consumables, but we're also selling a lot of the items that people need right now and people want, quite frankly, as they're sheltered in place. So a lot of exercise equipment, a lot of games, puzzles, things of that nature. So we do know there are product categories out there that buyers are really looking for right now, and we know that eBay has them. So we've also launched on our community boards our COVID-19 hub, where we are housing all of this information. So hopefully you're not taking notes. All this information is on our COVID-19 hub within the community, and it has all the information there. Feel free to share it, obviously, with your followers. I know many of you have a lot of followers, and you do a lot of mentoring and teaching, and we appreciate that so much during this time. So please go to that hub to see all of the information. Let's see, as I've said many times, we've wanted to be out there in person engaging with you guys, but this is the next best thing, and so we will continue to do so. We're going to continue to be virtually connected more than ever, so please be on the lookout for all of those, all of those programs. We're out there. We want to hear from you. I get the texts from some of you, so thank you very much. And we'll continue to be in touch. So with that, I want to just say thank you for your continued support. We miss you. Keep selling. And I'm going to hand it over to Harry now to talk you through some additional details on the technology and product side.
Awesome. Thanks, Marty. Hey, sellers. What interesting times, right? I kind of consider this to be like a little Zoom upfront, and at least we got one upfront in there. Patty, I see you saying hello this morning. It was great to be in Tampa. It was a lot of fun, and hoping to get those back on track once we get through these very, very interesting times. And I just want to let all of you know that, we have adjusted really well to working virtually. Now, we use Zoom all the time, and the selling team, all the teams, have not slowed down at all in terms of delivering all kinds of really cool stuff for all of you. And, we keep on schedule. We're doing more in seller-initiated offers that I'm going to talk about. We just launched really cool stuff with multiple user account access and TerraPeak that I want to walk you through. So there's a lot to talk about. And the theme that I want to go with today is, as you see on the slide, list, update, and sell. And so first, listen, don't stop listing. List as much as you can. I actually spent 2 weekends ago listing things that I've always wanted to list. And obviously I've got a lot of time at home. I put them up and I sold some of those things almost immediately. Actually, I sold a pair of floor mats that were brand new from one of our older cars that just were in the garage. I didn't even get best offered. They sold at list at the price I wanted. And they shipped to California and got there ahead of the estimate, right? So Stuart's going to talk about shipping, but just sell as much as you can. The marketplace is super active, as Marnie said. A lot of buyers coming to the platform. Many of you hear me talk about my son. We sell a lot of sneakers. He was able to source a whole bunch of sneakers over the last several days. We sold 2 of them over the weekend using both best offer and seller-initiated offers. And he's in negotiation right now. So the marketplace is hot for all kinds of products and across all the categories. So I encourage you to continue to sell. And, I was a big buyer this weekend, bought a lot of things for remote control cars. We bought puzzles this weekend. And again, many of those even arrived ahead of the estimate, even though we know, where the Postal Service is today. So continue to sell. And then on top of that, take this opportunity to update your listings. And, when we talk about listing and updating, I want to, talk about MUA for a second, or the multiple user account access. We announced that last year at Open, and it enables you to give access to an employee, or even in this time, if someone is looking, say, for a job, part-time work, and you want to have them assist you in listing, you can provide them dedicated access to help with drafting or even listing. Now, this quarter, we also added order support, read-only order support, but it would enable the employee to at least pick and pack, get the listing ready for shipment, and then you can go and print the shipping label and get that ready to go. And then actually, as of this week, yesterday, we made Terapeak also available through MUA. So that means you can give an employee access to all of the historical transaction analytics so they can help with pricing reference, looking at competitive pricing, other listings that have already sold. So those are those are three very powerful features that are now accessible with multiple user account access, and you can grant that access, directly from Seller Hub. Now, let's just talk about kind of the perfect listing and the elements that you want to take a look at either when you're listing or you're updating. Remember, title is super key. You want to use all 80 characters, but you want to use them efficiently. Make sure you're getting brand, size, other elements that are key to exposing that when when a buyer is doing a query search. But then it is super important that you also provide the item specifics. Now, we've been doing a lot of work around item specifics to make it more efficient. And as you'll see over the course of these last 3 months, and then as we move forward, we continue to reorganize the listing flow to elevate the most important item specifics to the top of the listing flow. Those are the ones that have the highest buyer demand data. So we recognize it takes time to give us the item specifics. So if I can focus your energy on the most important ones, the ones that buyers are using to search for your listing, and show those to you, those are the ones that you want to focus on and make sure that you have those updated. So take the time to look at your listings, look at the item specifics that have the most buyer demand data, and if you can provide those, believe me, that helps in conversion. It'll expose them in left-hand navigation. It'll expose them in browse nodes. It's a super critical piece. Photos. So this quarter, we were proud to launch image cleanup on both iOS and Android. The image cleanup service, if you recall, we launched it in beta at Open last year, and it's come a tremendously long way. Incredibly powerful tool. We see tremendous usage of it already, and you will see how easy it is to create clean white backgrounds of your photos. Now, remember that you can use it for the photos and then finish the listing in Seller Hub if you want to, and we've taken your feedback and we're actually looking to add it to Seller Hub later in the year. We know that's important, you guys. But right now, be sure you can use the mobile to do the photos if you want only the photos or the entire listing, and then those image cleaned photos will appear in Seller Hub and you can complete the draft. So again, that's now available on Android and iOS. And remember, the importance of that is that's the photo that shows up in the search result pages. It's the primary view item photo. And in particular for Google Shopping, you're gonna need a white background. So that tool is gonna come in very, very handy. Now, with respect to competitive pricing, again, as I mentioned, Terapeak is now available via multiple user account access, but we also now have it fully as a native application inside of Seller Hub. And one of the big enhancements to not only bringing it into Seller Hub was if you go to Terapeak now, you'll also see active listings is available there as well. So not only do you have access to a full year of historical transactions, but you now also have all the active listings at the same time, all within that control. So that makes it easier for you to see not only how these items have traded historically, but also how many active listings are there and what is the range of prices for those active listings. So again, very, very powerful tool in this time where we have a lot of buyers coming to the platform, right? Coming in, you want to make sure that you have your listing competitively priced. I'm going to let Stuart talk about the shipping piece, but remember, those are all the key elements of a super high quality listing. And again, we've enhanced the tool significantly to make it easier for you to give us item specifics, to clean your photos up, and to identify the right price to list at. And then finally, on the sell piece, I want to talk about 3 critical tools. So first, in the negotiation space, best offer and seller-initiated offers. So in particular, seller-initiated offers is one of our fastest growing tools. We also often call it offers to buyers. Right now, the numbers are anywhere between 1.3 to over 1.5 million offers are being sent per day. Now remember, the eligibility for you to be able to send a personalized discount to a buyer is that they're either watching your listing, and then recently we added, if it's been added to cart, and we also added what's called heavy browse, meaning if someone clicks on your item more than 3 times over a 15-minute period, it makes it eligible for you to send them a personalized discount. It's an incredibly powerful tool. The buyer gets an email that says they're receiving an X% discount just for them or a few set of buyers, which creates the urgency there. And it definitely helps drive conversion. So once you see people watching or it becomes eligible, and you will see the notification not only in Seller Hub, where you can do these in bulk, but you'll also see it now in mobile as well. So it's going to give you a little notifier on the main page of Selling Panel in mobile that says you have the following items eligible to ship, and to send an offer. And again, a very powerful tool. For those of you that are doing multi-quantity, be sure to use the volume pricing capability. That is also driving a significant amount of conversion. And then if you want to boost your listing a little bit more in search, be sure to use promoted listings. And so with that, I think I'll stop there.
Great, thanks, Harry. I love image cleanup. That's my favorite.
That's incredible.
All right. Stuart, you want to kind of take us through some updates? I know there's a lot of chatter. I'm looking on, questions about shipping. So everyone's eagerly awaiting to hear a quick update from you. Go ahead.
Will do. Thanks, Marnie. Hello to everyone. Hope everyone is well and staying safe. Let me just first start by saying thank you for all your efforts and hard work. We know shipping can be a challenge even in normal times, and certainly it's been more difficult over the last few weeks. So thank you to everyone for what you're doing. Let me start with a general overall carrier update, and then I'll get into a little bit about what we see in the domestic networks internationally, and then some specifics around pickup and drop off opportunities, which we know are critical right now. So first, I think you're all aware, the big 3, USPS, UPS, and FedEx, have all been declared essential businesses, declared critical to the economy and also critical to the COVID response. So they're all open, fully operational. We speak to all 3 every day to get updates on their network and to talk more specifically about specific things that might be popping up. They've all been very consistent from the outset that they are operational. They have seen over the last few weeks spotted delays in the network, but overall, their network capabilities are still strong and they're still delivering consistently, which, by the way, is what we see in our actual results. And as we talk across our industry partners, they're seeing the same thing as well. So that's all good. All 3 are very conscious of health and safety of their employees. They're working with state and federal officials to maximize their operations while maintaining safe environments. I think I saw a question pop up earlier about, is it safe to handle corrugate and packaging? There's lots of information out there on that. Our carriers talk about what they're doing in their hubs and their networks to maintain clean environments. And our advice is to follow the guidelines you're hearing. Potentially leave a package that you receive either on a return or what you're beginning in your normal day-to-day business coming to you. You leave it outside for a day, you bring it in a safe area, or you can spray it down or wipe it down. But that's our best advice as we think about safe handling of packages, wearing gloves, et cetera. So what does the domestic network look like today specifically? All 3 are reporting really mostly consistent, normal operations. We think about 4 key components of the network. Guys, we think about their retail drop-off locations, their hub and sort centers, air and ground line haul, and then also their final mile delivery capabilities. And in all instances, they're doing just fine in all 4 of those areas. We've seen a heavy shift from commercial deliveries to residential, as you might imagine. The networks are being adjusted to keep up with that shift. Overall, the networks are not at capacity, and when you combine a lot less traffic on the roads. The networks are in good shape and they're delivering on time. So we'd be curious to hear if any individuals out there are seeing or feeling anything different in the domestic network. Be happy to take any questions as we go through it. I will bring up one thing. UPS and FedEx, I think some of you probably heard, did rescind their money back guarantee, both domestically and globally. So if everything I just mentioned is accurate, why is that the case? They need and want the flexibility to serve the larger network efficiently and without penalty. So if a disruption does occur in the network, they want to be able to shift resources and do what they need so that they can make sure everyone's being served, rather than a relatively small number of packages where they provide a money back guarantee. So it's not an indication of what their network is capable of or what's happening today, but just that they want the flexibility to adjust as necessary. I guess finally, I'd say they've all been really transparent with us from the beginning. We're going to continue to communicate with you guys everything that we hear. They have not, there's been no surprises from what they've told us and what we're seeing in the network. So domestically, I think really good shape. Internationally, think about US exports, that's a bit of a different story. International air freight and transportation markets are really unbalanced and quite challenged based on the many flight restrictions that have been put in place by governments, and of course the reductions that the airlines have put in place. So that's the first challenge in the international space. Secondly, you've got countries around the world that are limiting border operations, slowing down clearance processes and just access in and out of borders once packages arrive. And finally, we've also got quite a few in-country post offices and delivery operations that have either closed completely or limited their operations as countries try to seal their borders. And so as a result of all of this, we have seen disruption and delays, and we've added days to our delivery estimates to most countries at this point, and have turned off exports to quite a few countries, about 50 altogether, very, very small countries that make up very little of your export business overall. All that information is posted, as Marnie had talked about, on our community boards. We're updating that on a daily basis as well. Some of the larger export operations for you guys, Canada is absolutely business as usual. Countries like Australia, France, Germany, Italy, UK, these are all open for business. We're seeing some delays. And again, we've extended EDDs just to protect the buyer and your experience along the way. So a little bit more challenging on international. And as I said, we'll keep you guys updated. Just one more minute here. I wanted to talk about, as you think about running your businesses, I think a lot of you are aware, but USPS, FedEx, and UPS, if you're a user, have really significant drop-off capabilities. We all know the network that USPS has that's utilized every day. FedEx and UPS, beyond their FedEx office locations, FedEx has Walgreens and Dollar General that you can drop off packages. And UPS, not only their UPS stores, but CVS, Michael's stores, and quite a few number of drop boxes. So we encourage you to use those. As it relates to USPS, right, they have a wonderful pickup service. So you don't have to leave your business, your residence. It's a free pickup service. It's available to about 98% of the zip codes out there. You schedule one day in advance. The pickup on the free pickup coincides with the mail delivery to your address on that next day. If you want, if it's easier for you to run your business with a time-specific pickup, there's a small fee associated with that. So utilize that service. There's lots of information on the USPS site. You just put in your address. It'll tell you exactly how it works. You've got to use a prepaid label in this case, so you know you can access from many places, including our label service. So we really encourage you, and we're happy to answer any questions about that, but there's lots of information on our community page and links that'll take you to those information sources. I think with that, I will turn it back to Marnie, and then we'll take questions as we go through.
All right, great. Thank you, Stuart. That was very helpful. I know I've pinged you with a ton of questions. I know you get a lot of emails from Jordan with a lot of questions. This is a dynamic situation, so thank you for that very detailed and helpful explanation. All right, so the man of the hour. I will hand it over to Jordan to give you guys some of his thoughts and start answering some questions maybe.
Awesome, thanks, Marty. So look, I think this is supposed to only go for like another half an hour. We got a lot of questions. I don't know if we're gonna go over, if Zoom's gonna shut down. Obviously, I'm pretty excited. I'd love to see everybody here this morning. As I'm speaking, like Harry, Stuart, Marnie, like feel free to start answering questions out there, typing. So I'd ask everybody watching, like listen to what we're saying, seeing the answers, and we miss anything, just drop more questions in. I'll make sure that we answer everything. If somehow this session ends and there's questions hanging, we'll email you guys after. We'll find a way to get the answers out there. You probably don't need to hear me drone on, but I'll just cover a couple things. One, I think what you've heard from everybody in this session, what you've seen from us over the last 2 weeks from the small and mighty on the homepage, SMBs, small and medium-sized businesses, what this group represents, what the eBay community represents at large, like that is eBay. Small and medium-sized businesses, I hear things like, oh, well, I'm not a small business. I'm just, stay at home doing my thing, or I'm not a medium business. I'm huge. Like the reality is like huge is like Best Buy. That's like enterprise. Like when we talk about small and medium businesses, that's 70% of eBay's GMV. That is the core of our business. And now more than ever, it's actually really important like for the economy. And you look at what's going on with fulfillment centers and the challenges there of working these tight confined spaces, and all of a sudden eBay's distributed network of sellers operating from their homes all over the country is this incredibly empowering effect. And so hopefully you've seen from the things that Marnie talked about in our actions over the last 2 weeks, we're doing everything we can to lean into you. But if there's more we should be doing, please just ask. Obviously this is our 25th anniversary, and with everything going on, we haven't been able to lean into that as a celebration at this point. But everything we're doing is in service to how do we help our community get through this period of change so that we can set ourselves up for the next 25 years. We're open. We're seeing crazy business trends, and that isn't like massively up or massively down. It's actually all over the place. Some categories are really hurting, but even to say something as generalized as, hey, people aren't using their tax returns in the same way to buy parts and accessories isn't true. We're seeing people work on hobby cars. There's a lot of time at home. And so I'll try in the next couple of days to get a blog post up with some like inventory trends we're seeing, but just to give people some fun things to think about. And I've seen some of that in the Q&A. I just thought I'd run down just some notes I picked up this morning, just looking at our various data. So home improvement, obviously people are stuck at home. So what do you do when you're stuck at home? You take care of the projects. Someone on my team bought a pressure washer off eBay and said yesterday they were out, cleaning the deck because, why not? Home furnishings, anything tied into working from home, home office, laptop risers, wrist stands, home appliances, a lot of cooking going on. My daughter was bored yesterday and decided to make a triple layer cake, which seemed mostly successful. Home appliances are great, home crafts, beads, anything related to painting, craft work. Food and gourmet. It's going to sound funny. We don't usually sell a lot of food on eBay, but I'm not just talking about boxes of spaghetti. Specialty food, like people are looking to find new experiences when they're stuck at home. I bought some honeycomb from a seller in Pennsylvania on eBay. It should arrive in a day or two. I'm pretty excited to try it out. Toys are all over the place. Big toys, puzzles, giant Lego sets. If you look at the top selling Lego sets on eBay right now, it's the Lego Disney Castle, the Harry Potter stuff, the Lego Bugatti. And don't think if you have Lego or Duplo, it has to be new in box. Like people are bored and looking for things to do. So if you've got a box of old Lego, you put it in a box and sell it. You can actually clean Lego by sticking it in the dishwasher in a mesh bag. I know that sounds crazy, but it works. So any kind of toys, Lego cards, Pokemon, media, so DVDs, kids movies are selling really well. Toy Story, any animated Disney movie, anything you can do to plunk your kids down and try to occupy them for an hour or two when there's nothing going on. Sporting goods, workout at home, things that are easy to ship. I saw someone put that in the comments, impulsive buys, light home weight gyms, soft home. So for us, that's like, bedding and materials and crafts. Again, like what can I do to occupy myself while I'm sitting looking for something to do. Video games, lots of controllers, but don't be afraid. Oh, and then the last one, gardening. You know, people are building home gardens, seeds are selling like crazy. I don't know if that's like prepping for a true apocalypse or just, you know, trying to find something to do. But don't be afraid to try things that may not have sold in the past, because people are looking to buy things they wouldn't normally purchase, at least not at the volumes we're seeing today. Used puzzles, used Lego. There's just a ton of demand. And so, you know, before I turn over to Q&A, I just want to kind of emphasize, you know, some of you are probably seeing really strong sales. Some of you may be seeing a slowdown, but the overarching theme is there's just a lot of uncertainty. And while we can't address the broader questions, the key messages from this group are there's things you can do on eBay to help give you more demand. Like Harry's comment on seller initiated offers is awesome. I have not seen a feature in maybe my entire time at eBay that has been so well received in terms of being able to drive demand. So, you know, yeah, revise your listings, make sure the information's great, and then take charge, send out those offers, list. You know, we've been running amazing listing promotions. I don't think there should be anybody in the community, unless you've like, you know, on the edge of suspension at this point, who shouldn't have received some kind of gigantic free listing offer. So put up inventory, test and see what's selling, and then ship. Stuart went through some great advice on how you can ship and still work in the you know, in some of the constraints around what's happening across the country. So I thank everybody for taking the time to join today. And you know, Marnie, let's jump into the Q&A.
All right. Some of us are trying to fast and furiously write answers wherever we can. So, and I don't know, so stop me if these have been answered already, because I know, Jordan, you've been typing away, and Stuart. But the question from Donna about what is it that you seek to gain and share in the Facebook groups, right? Obviously, you're out there, Jordan, you're active, as we, and Harry and myself. But, you know, what would be, I guess, most helpful?
Oh, look, for me, it's two things. On the personal side, it's actually just fun to have some relief, you know, around Facebook, where I'm not going to get judged by my friends and family on my personal accounts. There's a thread yesterday on what's your favorite comfort food. And so if I put in, you know, bacon, grilled cheese, and poutine, I'd probably get my family telling me that's not the healthiest option. I don't need to worry about that kind of judgment from the community. On the professional side, at our scale, it is impossible for the eBay employees to know every nuance of every business and every scenario. And so, so many people put things on Facebook that you may take for granted that, hey, this isn't working for my business. This tool isn't perfect. I really wish eBay had thought about this scenario. And hopefully what you see from the group here on today's webinar and other eBay employees is this curiosity to follow up and ask more questions. I've had some people who sent me some pretty direct feedback in the last 2 weeks around, why didn't you do this? And either in public or in private Facebook messages, and sort of followed up and said, actually, I didn't even know that was a thing. Can you please tell us more? And then we take that feedback to our team. And so, you know, maybe much to some of the frustration at times, you know, I'm just copying and pasting screenshots of what we're seeing on Facebook right into group Slack channels, and we're taking action on that. And I know, you know, Harry, you know, toe to toe is Steve out there doing the same thing. And so out of the Facebook groups, just please keep sharing the feedback, asking questions. And then I guess my only ask would be trust intent. What I love about the groups that I've been invited to join is there's not, it's not a like unforgiving environment. There's an understanding that we're all in this together. And I can tell you that everybody who works at eBay wants to make eBay successful, wants to make your business successful. And so when we keep that dialogue constructive, man, it's fun. It's so much fun to solve these problems. So just thank everybody for that as well.
Yeah, I just chime in. Look, I think many of you know I try to be as connected to you as I possibly can. Many of you message me directly. You have my email. Some of you have my cell phone number. And I try to, it's just like Jordan, we're in a lot of different rooms. And I love the dialogue in the rooms. The feedback is critical. Where, you know, we answer a lot of questions there when you have questions. So it's a great real-time environment. And even sometimes, you know, you guys report to us something went wrong. Like we had that issue when we were rolling out some updates earlier in the week on Seller Hub, and it was down, a couple of the pages were down a little bit, right? So it's a great environment. I enjoy spending as much time as I can in there, seeing your feedback and answering the questions. So it works really, really well.
Great. All right, next question regarding Marie, regarding the special seller protections that are in place until June 20th. What happens after that date? Do the defect sellers receive, then go back into consideration on the evals? Is it just a deferral? or are they completely removed? So they are completely removed. We will, because so many of these things are out of your control, it's not like we're looking to retroactively, penalize you. That is not the purpose of the protection. So it's almost like you start again, post the 90 days from where you were prior. So it's good news there. All right, let's see. Jordan, in regards to playing to eBay's strengths now and going forward, how do you personally seek to adapt the eBay company to play and utilize the used, vintage, antique, one-of-a-kind, and auction listings? The younger generations are seeking the gently used and collectible items. No site does auction listings like eBay. Promotions, ads, awareness?
Yes, all of the above. I think for some of you who sort of seen my answers to this question on other channels, I think this is a great opportunity for eBay to lean into. The comments around the younger generation, Gen Z, used, it's not used anymore. It's unique, it's authentic, it's different. It allows them to express themselves in a way that isn't just the same thing everybody's getting from the mass retailers. And the ecological green benefits, it isn't just a slogan, it really resonates on a connected level. What I would tell you is we're not going out with that loud right now for two reasons. One, I think there's things we need to fix in terms of the selling value prop to actually make it easier to sell in those categories. So our standards aren't really set up well to sell antiques, collectibles, to sell used clothing. Free 30-day returns on things that probably should have no returns doesn't make sense. And so I've talked about that in some other forums. I'm happy to share more details if helpful, but we're looking at how we sort of adjust the ETRS standards as a whole to figure out how we reflect really the differences across inventory types and inventory conditions. The second thing I'd say is I know Pete isn't ready to sort of like broadly disclose where we're going on like our product roadmap, but our site is also probably ready for a little bit of like a visual refresh. And I know there's some pretty cool work going on inside the product organization around what that could look like. I've heard of that from a couple sellers in some of the local meetup groups, sort of asking like, hey, is the site visually, like it just feels dated? And I think that is probably crazy talk for half of our customer base, and for other ones it's retro, and that retro can be retro good and retro bad. And I think as you start to see our customer experience evolve, we start to fix some of the nagging fundamentals that you guys have raised over time. Pete's got a pretty exciting roadmap coming for the rest of this year and into next year, and you'll see us start to lean into how we bring that customer base in more aggressively next year.
Great. All right, Catherine's asking, how is eBay answering this question? My state has shut down all businesses that are not essential, but is selling on eBay different? Is it an essential business? Does eBay have an answer? Are we breaking the law? I love that one. So eBay is essential. Well, it's essential to me. We are up and running, although we are working from home. The company is very much up and running across the globe. So it is absolutely important that you continue to do business. As Stuart said, the post office and all of the carriers are essential businesses. So feel free to continue to list away. Donna, one question, request, query that got a lot of people in her group and others would like to know is, will you include free auction listings with the already free fixed price listings for store subscribers in all categories? So Jordan, do you want to take that one? I can take that one.
Sure, I'm happy to take that one. And Don, I think you may have asked me that on Facebook as well, so I love the persistence.
She's hoping she wants a different answer.
No, I know. Look, so the honest answer is not right now. Search at eBay has never been better, but the truth is it still wouldn't be able to stand up to having a flood of auction listings. We would be very concerned it would impact price realization for the existing auction sellers if a lot of inventory that is better sold in fixed price were to suddenly move over into auctions and get that guaranteed visibility. And some of you may remember, 10 years ago when, a search for something like HDMI cable would just be filled with, auctions with zero bids, and we'd have, less than 10% sell-through rate on various searches. And so for right now, we're keeping the promotion to fixed price. We did extend to include fixed price and auctions for our non-store sellers, a small number of incremental listings. But what I can tell you is it's not a this week or this month solution. There are certain categories and certain businesses that I do think overwhelmingly should be sold in auction. And in those ones, long term, I don't think the right way to control the volume is to do what we're doing right now and charge insertion fees. I would love to see a higher allotment of auction listings in categories where it makes sense, but that's going to take us some more time.
Yep. All right, I'll give a quick shout out to Elijah and David. I'm glad your sales are up. Good to hear from you guys. Selling puzzles out there. One question that came in before we went live, so we got a few questions prior, or comment, you know, and maybe we can speak to this, and it came up in the Facebook groups, was around payments, right? And we know that this is still a large priority for eBay. And so I was thinking maybe, Jordan, you want to give a quick update. I know we sent out, you know, an email to a subset of our sellers earlier this week, just kind of telling them that we're still, this is still coming, and you know, in a few months we'll be migrating sellers over. But do you want to give kind of the group here a quick update on how that's progressing?
Sorry, Marnie, on payments?
Yes.
Yeah.
Or
so
Harry, or whoever.
Yeah, like maybe I'll give some thoughts, and then Harry jump in here because I know you've been answering a ton of these as well.
Yep.
Look, payments is coming. I think as I shared yesterday in one of the Facebook groups, like, I apologize, the timing of yesterday's email wasn't awesome. I think as we look to balance how we respond short term to what's going on and how we still make sure we're building the things we need to do long term as a company, there were a lot of pieces moving over the last 48 hours, and some of that wasn't perfect, but payments is coming. We need to have it as a company, and there's, you know, a couple of reasons for that. Ultimately, it's a better customer experience. Adding new payment methods onto eBay, Google Pay, Apple Pay, you know, for this group, probably less relevant, but it gives us flexibility in markets like Germany, which have a very different payment landscape. And that's not to say that PayPal wasn't a great partner. We were just a part of PayPal's business. And so what is 100% important to us will never be the #1 focus for them. And so by bringing payments in-house, we can do things that are better for buyers. That drives higher site conversion, which is better for all of you, which drives higher sales. On a purely economic level, it actually doesn't make sense to have another corporate entity sitting in between you selling your items on eBay and that money showing up in your bank account. And so that doesn't mean there aren't value add components that PayPal offers. And certainly that's a part of what we have to make sure we get built into our payments platform. But ultimately, this is going to allow us to be stronger and better as an eBay company. It'll allow us to drive better buyer and seller experiences. The vast majority of sellers will see lower fees as a result of us doing this, because we won't need to see the same level of profit pass around payments that you see on PayPal. And so I know that there's a number of you who've already sort of been in the early pilot, and we've had some missteps and then a lot of great feedback. And we're going to continue to learn. But you know, someone asked me what my biggest surprise has been since I came back to eBay after being gone 3.5 years. I've been blown away by the strength of the payments team and the level of progress they've been making. And so I know there's a lot of anxiousness out there. I know many of you will actually have to change some of your processes and how they work, but my ask is to trust our intention on this. It isn't just about some, you know, shareholder plan to grow eBay's top line. This is actually going to be great for our buyers and sellers. Harry, anything you wanted to add on to that?
Yeah, I mean, look, I've been a managed payments user for a long time now. I love it. I love the integration that it provides directly within Seller Hub. I love that I don't have to manage payments business policies anymore. It's just managed by eBay. So, you know, these are all things that just make it easier, you know, to list. And particularly now in this quarter with global shipping, as well as shipping labels added, that's just one less, you know, another complexity taken out of the equation. Right now, my shipping labels just go into my wallet and comes out of the money that's inbound. And then I can also set when I want the payments to come to my bank account, right? It doesn't have to be continuously every day. If I don't want it to be that over the course of a 2 to 3 day period, I can now schedule when I want the deposit to come in. So just the ease of it. And as Jordan said, the fact, you know, particularly for my son and who he caters to with sneakers, that Google Pay and Apple Pay are now payment mechanisms. And also PayPal is a payment mechanism. Don't forget that. Just because we're not using PayPal on the back end, it doesn't mean that we don't accept that as a payment mechanism. So that is still there. And eventually we'll add a lot more digital wallets So, we're encouraging and making it easier for the younger generation to shop and purchase on eBay. And then, as I mentioned in a couple of the rooms, there's obviously been a lot of questions around multi-listing orders and multi-quantity orders with respect to the fixed order fee and the variable fee. And it was always the case that we would only charge one fixed order fee plus the variable on a multi-quantity listing. But I think there was questions around what about a multi-listing order where there's separate listings in one order? Would there be a charge for each order? And we've worked that out. And so there will not be, it'll be one fixed order fee plus the variable component on a multi-listing order, which is, as everybody has noted, more of a standard in the industry. So again, whether it's a multi-quantity or a multi-listing order, it'll be one fixed order fee plus the variable fee. So that should be one thing that puts a lot of people at ease if you're selling multi-listing. But again, from a technology perspective, it's not separate emails anymore going to your customer, right? Getting a PayPal email and an eBay email. There isn't, having to go to PayPal to dispute things. You just work with eBay. So there is a whole slew of, wonderful positive elements to this that should make it more efficient for you to run your business, and quite frankly, mean more transactions for you just simply because of how we're opening up all of the payment mechanisms.
Great. Thank you for updating everybody on that. All right.
Marty, do you mind if I just tackle a couple of quick, there was a lot of questions that were kind of similar.
Go for it.
And
Yeah.
I just wanted to try to tackle one. It was actually a question about vacation settings. And if, unfortunately, if say you were to get sick, could you put the store on vacation? And I just want to make note that, look, over the last couple of weeks, we've done a lot of things super quick, just to help you guys out a lot. And one of the things that we changed is the out of stock feature, which traditionally was 90 days. We've extended that to 180 days. What does that actually mean? If you turn on the out of stock feature in your settings, your account settings in Seller Hub, you can set your quantity to 0. It remains as an active listing. It's just not visible in search because the quantity is 0, which means that it maintains all of its transactional history, right? After 90 days, it would end the listing and you would lose all the history. So this way you can easily just set all the quantities to 0. You can do that in bulk edit and replace using the bear function, or do it in active listings. And you have 180 days now in which you can just leave the quantity set to 0. Which is a nice feature. And again, there's a credit for insertion fees when it lasts more than 30 days like that, although we've given a lot of insertions for the next 2 months, so that shouldn't be an issue. If you do decide to use vacation settings, we are actively working on fixing vacation settings this year to make it work as it should, well above an out-of-office assistant, in that when you do turn it on, it would set your handling times automatically, set the EDD. Today, it does not do that. Does not set the EDD. So what we have sellers do, and many of you know how to do this, is you make a copy of your business policies and effectively set the handling time to the vacation time. So you would turn on vacation settings and you would set a business policy that sets the handling time to the vacation time. But I think the easiest way for you to handle that is probably just to set your quantities to 0 using this quick change we made in the out of stock feature. So that's a quick thing there. There was a question with regards to Terapeak and its availability on mobile. That is something we're working on, but not till way later this year. And I do want to tell you that you can use Terapeak in Seller Hub in your mobile. I know it's not optimized, but if you turn the phone horizontally, I do this a lot, you will see that Terapeak fits in there beautifully. You can zoom in on it. You get all of the advanced search features. So you actually can have Terapeak on the fly in mobile. But yes, it is something that we will do later in the year to actually make it truly part of the native application. So, again, those are some important things to take note of how to do with vacation. And then just again, with respect to Terapeak, I think I've answered a bunch of the other ones. Let me scroll through, but I'll let you go through a couple of the other questions, Marnie.
Yeah. Let's see. I was answering, let's see, I was just in the middle of answering one about customer service. So we know they're like originally when the folks in Salt Lake City and the Austin office, where we have a lot of our, and of course in the Philippines, which we have a lot of service centers out there, had the shelter in place. We did see obviously delays in SLAs, but we're close to getting, back up to full capacity. Please use email, please use seller help. The team is actively working on getting, all of the support back up and running. We have started with our concierge and MSO service. Getting that up and running for our sellers who rely on that. So the team is working on this 24/7, but continue to use seller help and some of those other online tools, especially for questions where maybe other community members can help you. If you have questions around billing or any concerns around your account or fraud, those calls will be answered, absolutely. But please try to use the online tools as much as possible. All right, let's see. Some great comments. Are there any discussions to make immediate payment required on all items? It's 2020 and I don't know of any retailer that allows a potential buyer to reserve an item and not pay for it for quite some time. I've been getting a lot of non-paying buyers.
Is that a question with respect to when using best offer?
Doesn't say. Inka,
Or when an auction completes?
well, we
Maybe
can't
look,
get it.
like
Go
I
ahead.
think, yeah, no, I'll take a shot at that one. Look, on fixed price, I'm sure there's examples I'm missing, but on fixed price, there shouldn't be a reason why we're still having unpaid items. If there's something that we're not supporting correctly for you to enable that, let me know. In auctions, I will tell you, we looked at this a little while ago, and there's two solutions, and one of them isn't great. The solution where there's never any unpaid items, where you pre-authorize someone's credit card like you would get if you were to go to stay at a hotel and they kind of hold an amount, that's actually not good for the marketplace. It's not good for you. It's not good for buyers, because if someone bids on a 7-day auction and we hold that money on their credit card for a week, they might not have funds to pay for groceries or pay for gas. And so I don't think we'll ever get to a place where there's zero unpaid items in auctions. But what we've seen is that we could actually solve a lot of it if we actually just had buyers automatically set up the payment method. So if they win the auction, we go ahead and charge it. And that's an example of something we can do when we get managed payments. And then Harry, you sort of brought up the topic of best offer. That one is definitely something that that we're ready to do as a company. And again, when we get to managed payments and we have control of the payments process, we'll be able to do much faster than if you're trying to work that with PayPal and have people pre-auth different things back and forth. If any of you have memories longer than I do, or were part of a pilot, we actually did build a test for immediate payment and best offer about 5 years ago. And it was just a little too clunky with the handoff between eBay and PayPal as part of the offer process. And I'm excited that managed payments will be able to allow us to give you a different answer on this next year. Yeah,
just real quick, I mean, exactly right. It will allow us to, when someone makes a commitment on best offer, they'll force, make them pay if you've accepted their offer effectively. I mean, there is the elements of counter offer in that, and that reminded me there was a question. I'm trying to find it in the scroll here. We're up to 58 open questions, but I think it was about with SIO and counter offer with respect to the email, and does it allow encourage the buyer to engage into counter offer? I believe that when they do go into that, there is an ability for them to counter you in the email, because we have added that feature for SIO now, as was always in best offer, but there is up to 5 counters. And again, including messaging in an SIO helps with the conversion, not just sending the number, but including the message with it. I want to stress that. But it should, in the email, allow that negotiation process to open and become engaged back and forth with your buyer.
Thank you, Harry. So we have Justin sent in a question. Oh, I just lost it, about shipping and about, I know many of the shipping services are waiving signature requirements. How does this affect the requirement on having packages above $750 to have signature confirmation to qualify for seller protections?
Yep, I can take that one, Marnie. So yeah, the carriers have made changes to their signature requirements. They're still not just dropping a package and leaving. They're making sure there is some contact with the consignee or the buyer, and then leaving it in a safe place, taking the name of the buyer and then putting that as the delivery confirmation, the signature confirmation. Packages over 750 are largely being treated the same way. And our policy is, as long as the package went out for delivery with signature confirmation required, you'll be protected.
Great. Thank you, Stuart.
Yep.
All right. Angela, very formal, Angela. So Angie wrote, also, I noticed a lot more new buyers to the platform. Yes, we are too, which is a good thing. Mainly good buyers, but it looks like you had an incident a couple of days ago where different usernames, some weird addresses, it looked like spam. Glad you got help, but what are we doing to control new spam or fake accounts? So we don't have anybody from our risk team on the call, but I can speak to the fact that I work with this team day in, day out, and we continue to put policies and monitors in place to prevent this. Jordan, I don't know if you've heard of anything new or an influx of this happening recently. I haven't, but as we do get new buyers, obviously things can increase, as far as kind of the risk profile, but we will continue to monitor this as we do. Anything to add, Jordan, there? No? Okay. All right. Anything? Let's see. And I know we're almost to time, but we're going to keep going. If you guys have the time, we will continue to answer questions.
Arnie, well, you're finding a tough question. I just love to talk inventory and products and what's selling. I see Craig Dawson wrote, we're still seeing great interest in odd collectibles, vintage paper, childhood memory items. We say one person's comfort food may be those puzzles, maybe versus puzzles and Lego. That's true. Like when I go and look at top selling in toys and trains, it isn't just new in-box trains. Like one of the top selling trains right now are like vintage Lionel trains. And so I'm sure you're all experiencing this. Like everybody is home. And so that means it's what do you do to keep an 8-year-old occupied? And what do you do to keep an 80-year-old occupied? My great uncle had the most epic HO scale train set in the basement. I'm sure if he were here today, this would be like the ultimate time to
Hey, Jordan, you know what? Like
build up the addition.
Over the weekend, my son and I basically uncovered out of the basement. I've had them for 30 years. My original heavy duty RC cars, and trucks. I have 3 of them. And I was like, this would be great to get these working again. And I needed a part for a 30-year-old Traxxas truck. Seller on eBay had it. It's on its way. I mean, brand new, right? I needed a new Futaba radio controller. Seller in Florida had it. It's on its way. That's what makes this platform so unique. And it's in demand, right? I mean, because I want to start a hobby while I'm at home, right? And this is where you come to get it. So that's when we say list everything, right? Everything is in play right now, and just put it up on the platform.
All right.
I want to take a quick one just on offers to watchers from Michelle. Super quick, Michelle. You can see all the offers that you sent, as well as counters that you received. And any best offers that have come in Seller Hub. When you've done that, the drop-down menu should default to review all offers or respond to offers if you have an inbound. So there's 2 different drop-downs, action items that will light there. One is you have an offer you need to respond to, or you just need to review everything that's been received or sent out. When you do that, it will take you to a page that has all the historical offers sent as an SIO or received as a best offer or any counters. I was having trouble typing that in, so thanks, Mark.
No, good. That's great.
Hey, Marty, I got a question for you.
Oh,
turn the tables a little bit. Dawn is asking, as far as getting younger or newer sellers to eBay, what do you propose for bringing more eBay tutorials or programs, getting them into Facebook groups that can help mentor? What can we admins do to help with eBay employees in this unified effort? So you and I were actually talking about this over the last 12 hours.
We were? What were we talking about? I'm putting it back. What were we? I don't remember the last 12 hours, Jordan. No, what we do, I mean, obviously we we would love, and many of you already are mentors to other sellers and new sellers, and not only young sellers, but just, kind of newbies to the platform. Like I mentioned, we announced today our new up and running program for new sellers, and we created a hub on the community, where these sellers are going to be able to go and talk to each other. But, more importantly, they'll be able to hear from you. And our ask is, certainly that you make yourselves, available when you can. Obviously, you're busy listing and selling, but we know how great you are at tutoring and mentoring and training this new generation as well. So we are really trying to get out there, get new sellers on the platform, using different channels. Like we know that, a lot of the new sellers are using, a lot of YouTube, obviously the other social channels as well. So we are, kind of trying to infiltrate those new channels as well to get the new cohort out there. Did I answer your question okay, boss?
It sounds good to me. And then there's another one in there. Betsy, I apologize. You already sent that feedback that our listing guidance doesn't actually include title. And so I don't know where that got lost inside eBay, but Harry, there's this page that says like how to optimize your listing. And Betsy pointed out that the one thing it doesn't tell you to do is actually fix your title on the listing. And so that seems like a pretty easy thing we can do to help all sellers be successful.
Yeah, and listen, I mean, I'll be honest with you. This is a place that is deep in our roadmap this year to provide what we call NSA, next seller action. And one of them is to effectively bring in the title optimization capability of Terapeak and to do that in a much more powerful way, incorporating item specifics. You're going to see a lot of things coming with Terapeak over the next several months. I mean, right now in mobile, we do have an action there that says like optimize title, but only based on the number of characters. Like if you've only used 40 of 80. And honestly, what it needs to come down to is sort of guiding you into the right item specifics to put into your title. So it is certainly something that you will see from us over the course of this year as we build out more analytics and action tools for you. In the interim, as I noted, try to put the key item specifics in your title. So one way to think of it is when you look at the buyer demand data in the listing flows, the item specifics that have the most, use those keywords in your title as well. Like, and when I think about sneakers, Adidas Yeezy Boost V2 or 350 V2, then like their custom color, which could be right now, we have one up sage or camo. And then we do men's or women's, and we do size and the number. And then we make sure all of those, and then we also put their MPN there, which is very helpful. We make sure those are in the item specifics as well. So use that as your guiding tool right now, and then you will certainly see us provide those types of actions directly from the active listings page going forward.
Great. Thank you, Harry. I see two similar questions about if eBay is considering offering sellers the ability to downgrade their store or even close it without any penalty. So this came from Marie and Liz. First and foremost, we're obviously these are great suggestions, and we went out and obviously asked a lot of sellers what would be most helpful. So we do want to hear these. I think we are talking about different ways to continue to help sellers. I think that, our offering of the additional listings for free is something that we are hoping will get, more buyers, to see great items that you're listing. So ideally you wouldn't have to kind of like unsubscribe or reduce your store level, but certainly something we will continue to look at. Again, business for many is very good, and if we do this across the board for all sellers, right? So we just want to make sure we're striking the right balance for all sellers who are in these store subscriptions. So something we will continue to look at and talk about for sure. All right, what else? Lots more questions about managed payments.
Yeah, a lot of questions about managed payments and GSP.
Yep.
I think, so Marnie, we actually got this yesterday. I think I just answered it in here, but if it's multiple people are wondering. So
yeah.
to the best of my knowledge, GSP was turned on for managed payments 2 days ago, March 30th. Stuart, do you have details on there? If not, I'm just going to wing it.
Jordan, I think I think it's not 100% turned on. I think there was a small ramp, but it is supposed to go live anytime now. I was just checking with the team to see if I get a specific update, but any date now, it should be live to everyone.
Yeah, and so one of the questions I had yesterday was, hey, should I go ahead and start the pre-boarding, which was what that email was about,
Yep.
if I use GSP? And the answer is definitely GSP is now up and running. If I guess if you don't see it, maybe in the next week, just shoot us a note. But that is ready and is ramping out.
And I think shipping labels should be ramping up as well.
Mm-hmm. Yep. All right. One question for Jordan or Marnie. What is eBay doing to promote the community boards? From Patty. Great question. So we, more than ever, community is obviously extremely important. I was actually on a call earlier today with about 2,000 people who are all about communities. And so what we've done is not only put information about the community on all of our usual channels, and we created the COVID-19 hub, but we also have put it on our ebay.com. So if you go to ebay.com on the shopping side, the buy side, there's information about COVID-19, and on there we direct a lot of these buyers, obviously, and sellers to the community. So the community is only getting more and more robust. We have a large initiative this year to kind of relook at the community, add new groups, bring more things online to the community. I think many of you know that we want to move a lot of our meetup groups on the community, so they stay on the community. So a lot to do to promote the community, but we're starting to do it in a much bigger way. Great question, and it's such a powerful community, and we're going to continue to grow it for sure. Mary says, send the newbies to me. Mary, we will definitely send the newbies to you. It's good to see you. All right, what other questions?
Quick one on
one about the community boards. I think it's come up a couple times. I know you've actually got somebody new in your team starting, I think, in the next couple of weeks.
I do. I could share that yeah. So guys, I have you guys will appreciate this. We have a new director of community starting next week. She joins us from Baby Center, which is a subsidiary of Johnson & Johnson, and she ran the community for the past 7+ years. She was with Johnson & Johnson for almost 20 years, but she ran the Baby Center community for the past 7 years. And for any of you who have kids and used Baby Center, it is a very robust community with a ton of information, a great thriving base of new parents, and she's going to bring a tremendous amount of wealth and knowledge to the community. She's going to look at it not only on the front end of how do we make it better for you, but also on the back end, right? How the actual community is powered, how it works, how it looks, how it's designed. So I'm super excited for that, and I'll do a formal introduction when she officially starts in the coming weeks. But we are excited about that. But it just goes to show you the investment we are making in the community. We believe it is a powerful tool, our most powerful tool, and we want to put the resources and support behind it for sure. Thank you, Jordan.
Just
there's one question I get a lot, especially in the last 2 weeks, around, hey, what's eBay doing to drive demand?
Yeah.
eBay
commercials.
Commercials.
Yep.
So to be totally honest with this group, TV for eBay.
Wait, it's being recorded, Jordan. No, it's okay. Go ahead.
TV for eBay doesn't make a ton of sense. And here's the challenge. If you are in the UK or you're in Germany, or we had like just eBay for New York State, then it might work. At the scale of this country, to get cut through for a few 100 million viewers, it's actually exceedingly expensive, and it doesn't make a lot of sense to use your fees to do that. So as we look at what's happening right now with everybody staying at home, we're leaning into paid internet marketing, affiliate channels, digital display. And so you'll see eBay lean into a lot of digital channels to drive demand. And certainly right now, we're actually seeing it's a great opportunity to be leaning into that spend, because many advertisers are pulling back. And so that's a better use of your dollars to lean into digital display. I don't say that to say that we will never run another TV campaign again, or you won't ever see the eBay logo show up on your TV. But it's one of the sort of the biggest things that I hear is, hey, why are you going to run a commercial? And the truth is, it actually just costs a ton of money. And I don't think it's the right use of the dollars that that all of you and all of your co-eBay sellers are paying. So know that we're leaning into marketing. We're driving a lot of demand and take advantage of the weakening advertising market. But TV won't be an area you see us lean into right now.
Great. Did we answer Elijah's question about eBay International Standard Delivery? I saw a question about, Stuart, you did?
I did I just answered it. Yeah.
Excellent.
Short answer is, hey, thanks for asking about the program. It's going great. It's being used quite heavily now. It's only a few months old, and we're looking for ways to expand it and offer even more services. Expanding weight and dimensions is one of those things that we're looking at, and probably won't be till middle or latter part of the year that we come back with what we're doing there. But thank you.
Great. Thank you. Donna wanted to know about eBay Expressions. She positioned that to Jordan, but I could take that. Yes, Expression is still alive, not on the chopping block. You can definitely request submission into that group. So Donna, I can reach out to you, or you can reach out to me directly. Expressions is a group of sellers, a larger group of sellers, a couple thousand that we use who are under NDA, who we use to test new products with, get feedback from. So yes, that group is still very much alive, and we are not getting rid of it anytime soon. Oh my God, this is the best. Okay, so Donna has to ask, any plans to ever ask Weird Al to do another eBay parody song? That's amazing. I love it. I don't know.
That's
We'll have
really
to get
funny, because yesterday when I walked into my office, also
Right.
known as the room where I've stuck my laptop in my chair, I was actually just, I don't know what like swag I saw. It must have been like a lanyard hanging from an old eBay Live where I was like, man, I'm like, maybe I should like download the old Weird Al song and just like play it on loop, and I'm sitting here working to like drive my pace. You know, it's funny is, 25 years, you sort of seen eBay's earnings in the last, year, and, not the greatest business trend. And I kept getting the question of like, hey, Jordan, you left eBay. Why after 3.5 years did you come back? And well, I don't know that our future is to get Weird Al out of retirement and have him do a V2 song. The brand has another 25 years in it easily. And I think that spirit of the dynamic, entrepreneurial unlock of the global marketplace that was a part of that moment is something that we can get back to again when we tackle the things that we covered in this call, like the auctions, the collectibles. You've heard me talk in the past about, let's be eBay. Like Walmart is great at what it does. Amazon's great at what it does. And we don't need to be either of those companies to be awesome for our customers. And so I don't know if it'll be Weird Al or someone who's more appropriate for what my kids are listening to. But I definitely think that that moment is in our future.
Great. All right, Jordan, I think we covered a lot, and we're gonna actually we'll answer all of these questions in a recap. Do we want to keep going? It looks like we've lost a few of our participants.
I can answer a quick best offer one
Yeah, go for it.
So there was I'm sorry, I got to go back through the list here and just see. I'm trying to go through and answer as much on the product side as I can. So the question was, with best offer, the buyer can control the offer time limit. It can be 48, 24, 12 hours, I think even down to 6 hours, but not with seller initiated offers. They are set at 48 hours. We have actually looked into that, but the reality is that our tests have shown that 48 hours works the best from a conversion standpoint. So that's why we're not integrating the ability for you to set the time limit on that. Again, 48 hours seems like the best window to give buyers an opportunity to respond to that offer and help drive the conversion. So that's kind of the reason. We do have it when buyer is sending an offer to you, there is that time frame. But in the reverse, it seems to work better with leaving it at 48 hours.
Great, thank you, Harry. All right, so I think we're gonna finish up now. Thank you so much for all of you for participating, for registering, for taking the time. This is over an hour out of your busy day. So we appreciate it. I thank you sincerely so much. And we will absolutely do this again soon. We hope we answered your questions with as much detail as you wanted, and we'll send out answers to the rest of the questions we didn't get to. But please keep reaching out, keep communicating. You will be seeing a lot of us. Don't be a stranger, and keep selling. And we will talk to you very, very soon. All right. Any final words from you, Jordan or Harry?
No, just a huge thank you to everybody. Appreciate the feedback. Appreciate the great questions. Keep selling, and just thank you for your time.
All
Yeah,
right.
same from me. Keep it coming. And, as we said, hopefully we're going to get to see you in person at some point at an upfront. We
Yes.
look forward to doing that.
All right. Take care,
Thanks,
guys.
everyone.
All right. Cheers.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.